Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So, what's going on today? Well, we got one important figure, especially in the US, and his decisions affect the world. Fed Chair Jerome Powell. He turned bullish on Bitcoin. Recently, there has been a lot of people turning bullish on Bitcoin. Jerome Powell is another one. So let's discuss why he's bullish and everything else that's going on in the world today. All right, let's do it. Welcome, guys. Starting out the day, quite nice. 64.9, right below 65,000. Looks like today there may be something brewing behind the scenes. We may get something good. Let's see. As for US market, Dow's down. That's fine. NASDAQ is going up today. That's pretty good. But you know what? What about Fed Chair Powell? What is going on with him? Well, he said that there's a couple things that he's noticing. Number one, all this talk about stablecoins, he thinks that the Federal Reserve should have a say in terms of how stablecoins are to operate, and that's because, you know, it's a new form of currency, right? So he definitely thinks that Federal Reserve should have power over stablecoins. Is he right or wrong about that? I don't know. I mean, to quote him, we do see payment stablecoins as a form of money, and in all advanced economies, the ultimate source of credibility and money is the central bank. We believe that it'll be appropriate to have quite a robust federal role in what happens to stablecoins going forward. So basically, he wants to control stablecoins, especially ones pegged to the dollar, I guess, right? I don't know. Kind of makes sense, kind of doesn't. Like, honestly, we would love stablecoins to be controlled by decentralized entities, but that's not the case right now. Tether is not decentralized. Circle is not decentralized. Paxos is not decentralized. So they're controlled by centralized entities already, right? So as long as we don't have a CBDC, like one that's issued by the federal government, then, or Federal Reserve, I should say in this case, then I think we're okay. But who knows? It might lead to that. So that's something that we don't want, right? But besides that, he did say some good things about Bitcoin as well, saying that Bitcoin has staying power. That says a lot. That says a lot. He's not someone that's just like Jamie Dimon or whoever, that's just, you know, dismissing any notion that Bitcoin can be a store of value and can be a global reserve asset someday. He's kind of recognizing that by saying it has staying power. Anything that has staying power has a lot of power, if you think about it, right? Because all fiats collapse. And the ones that are most powerful are the ones that have the most staying power. But ultimately, because the way they're designed, they're all going to fail one day. Every single one prior have failed, and every single one that exists now will fail too, right? So Bitcoin, it has the ultimate staying power because of how it's designed, because of the decentralized network and its scarcity factor. Could definitely one day become the global reserve asset of the world. So overall, I'd say this is pretty darn bullish. I would say that Jerome Powell is pretty bullish overall about Bitcoin and about stablecoins. All right, so let's lead off with that. What else is going on? Let's talk about inflows. Yesterday we had another inflow, another good inflow day. Not as good as the day before. We only had net positive of 53 million. Hey, but it's still 53 million. But here's the thing. Two things to note. One, massive outflow from Grayscale once again, 53.9 million. Okay, no idea why. When we have bad days, Grayscale continues to sell. You can see most of the red on this chart is all on Grayscale, right? Since the beginning of July to now, they have been selling and selling and selling and selling some more. Again, there's something going on with Grayscale. And it makes me almost a little bit worried about ETH ETFs coming up because they're converting their ETH trust into an ETH spot ETF, and they're keeping their fees high as well. So is that, we already saw this playbook from Grayscale. They knew there was going to be massive selling. That's why they kept their fees high. And they're doing the same thing with their ETH spot ETF. So I'm wondering if they're anticipating massive sells or outflows of ETH too. So that's something to pay attention to next week. But regardless, the other ETFs, they're soaking it up, like BlackRock, another 110 million inflow, right? BlackRock does not care. Does not care. They will just take in all the Bitcoin they can. Or maybe they control Grayscale and they're forcing Grayscale to sell so they can inflow. I don't know. I would not be surprised if Grayscale's owned by BlackRock at this point, okay? But what I do know is this: BlackRock is not going away. They will continue to load up Bitcoin as much as they can while it's still cheap. Even when Bitcoin's not cheap, they'll probably still be loading up on Bitcoin. But still, they will continue to load up. This is what I've been saying ever since the ETF started debuted. Ever since the volume started flowing into the ETFs, I'm like, pay attention. This is what Wall Street wants. This is what they got. They're putting billions upon billions upon billions. And of course, the leader now is BlackRock because of how bullish Larry Fink is, right? This is not going to stop. This is not going to stop. All right. Now, besides inflow, you got a lot of other great things going on. For example, this NVT Golden Cross. This happens every single time when Bitcoin is about to pump. Every single time. And we're seeing the same thing happen. In fact, this is the lowest negative number we have seen in 2.5 years, going all the way back to even 2022 and 2023 when Bitcoin fell down to 16,000. It's more negative now than those periods. Think about it, while we're sitting around 65,000. Again, doesn't quite make sense, but it does if you think about what's coming next. What's coming later this year when Bitcoin breaches 6 figures and goes above. So if you look at it from that perspective, it does make a whole lot of sense, right? What is it saying? Golden buying opportunity right now. And same thing with this from Plan B, showing that Bitcoin is hovering the 65,000 mark, is hovering around a 5-month realized price, which means this is within the last 5 months. If you average out all the purchases, it's around $65,000. Okay, so that's where we are right now, using it as a support. But if you notice, before in bull runs, a lot of bull runs, this is the crucial point where Bitcoin utilizes support and just continues to move further and higher, right? We have seen this play many, many, many times in prior cycles, and we're seeing it exactly the same right now. Just look at all the flat levels and all the rises on here, the teal color. You could see all the red dots utilizing it as a support as it's going upwards. Only in bear markets do we really break below. But in bull markets, we always seem to use this realized price as a support, and we just continue to trend higher and higher and higher and higher every single cycle. Stablecoins also increasing. You'll see that, well, my camera, maybe you won't see it, but now you'll see it. You see how it's going up again, right? Why is that important? Because people are putting money into stablecoins and getting ready to buy, right? You could see the vast increase in market cap growth from September of 2023. That's when Bitcoin and markets really started moving, right? And now we're starting to see that grow again. Another pretty obvious bottom indicator that that something big is about to happen, right? And from a TA perspective, we got this bull flag that's forming right now. And again, once we break out, guess what? We get back to our previous high right around 673,000 and we break through that. I still think this is happening. We are getting ready for the conference next month. Next week. And I think big things are being put in play right now. I would not be surprised if the conference starts with Bitcoin at $74,000. Okay, I would not be surprised one bit. In fact, I would be surprised if we didn't hit it by next week. Okay, I think big things are brewing right now. Okay, look at the sentiment. Look at all the people that are now turning bullish, right? It's all leading up to something. Leading up to something. Here's another chart showing, again, this broadening wedge we saw before in the last cycle in 2020, right before the huge climb upwards. And we're kind of seeing the same thing right now, right? Not as broad as 2020, but we didn't have that huge COVID dip back in 2020. I mean, we did have it in 2020. I mean, we don't have it now because that was scary. That was really scary when we had that. Now we don't have that. So, but nevertheless, looks similar, and we may be repeating the same pattern, right? And lastly, I'll just say this bullish cross. This bullish cross on a monthly scale has not happened since 2016 when Bitcoin crossed $1,000. Then it didn't stop until $20,000. That was a 20x the last time this happened. This didn't even happen in 2021. We didn't even have a death cross and a bullish cross. But we did in 2023. Now we have that same golden bullish cross that we saw in 2016 that gave us a 20x gain. Are we going to get a 20x gain from 65,000? Probably not. That would be absolutely insanity, okay? We're not going to get a 20x. But can we get a 3x, a 5x from our current level, a 6x? That's certainly possible. We're still early this year. Still very early this year, and we have an entire 2025 to look forward to. Again, I mean, these charts don't lie. We haven't seen a cross like this since 2016. This doesn't happen every week. This doesn't happen often at all. So this is very, 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 very bullish indeed. All right. Now, outside of Bitcoin, what else is going on? Well, Polygon finally announced that they will be converting from Matic to Pol September 4th in a couple of months. Okay. Now, it's a little confusing because they're trying to move to this new network, this Matic 2 network, which is going to be using this new token called Pol. So if you have your Polygon on the Polygon network, everything will be, it'll be snapshot and converted automatically. But according to this article, if you don't have Matic on Matic network, and you have it on ETH, for example, you have to bridge it yourself. You have to manually bridge it, and you have to change the RPC settings in your wallet to recognize the new token. It seems like it's a mess. So hopefully we get automatic conversions on exchanges, but I already know that Coinbase will probably not support this. Coinbase has not been supporting any conversions at all. They didn't support Gala with their transition. They're not supporting FET to ASI, and I don't think they're going to support Matic to Pol. So yeah, I don't know how that's going to be, but it's still early. We still have months for them to prepare. This is the first kind of like, first announcement of this, right? But you know what? We'll see what happens. Matic is still making sure that they're relevant. They still want to move forward. They just made a partnership with Ton 2 to get a new layer 2 that's EVM on top of the Ton network, and that's utilizing Polygon. So they're still making moves, but I'm a little worried about lack of Coinbase support here. Again, I'm just speculating. That's not confirmed, but we will see later. And there seems to be a lot of manual things going on here. Hopefully they just get everyone, all the wallet makers and exchanges, to support a conversion, and they'll just make it easy for everyone, right? And then what else is there? Chainlink unveils digital asset sandbox to speed up tokenization trials within days. So Chainlink, obviously, the big daddy of oracles, but they're also really into tokenization, RWA. Banks are utilizing them. And this is great. This is great to have a sandbox, which means that companies and dApps, they're able to, kind of spin up a token that's going to be backed by a real world asset, and then they could test it out, right? That's kind of what a sandbox is. So it's really good. Very good for Chainlink. And then lastly, I got to talk about this. There is an exchange in India, Wazir X. Unfortunately, it seems like they got hacked for $235 million. It almost seems like they didn't even know about it. I don't know what this Twitter basically warned people. So hopefully they got a handle on it. But it seems like the hacker is selling off a ton, including $100 million worth of SHIB and $52 million of ETH and $11 million of Matic, and the list goes on and on and on. This is a major hack. $235 million worth. But it's always surprising to me that like safeguard. I mean, like, if you have external like alerting systems or companies that's like tracking these things, if they see it, then the exchanges themselves should see it first, right? It almost seems like sometimes they don't even see it at all, which makes you wonder, like, what kind of security protocols or alerting systems do some of these exchanges really have, right? It's just kind of weird. Or maybe they did know it and, they just didn't publicly release it, and others found it. I don't know. Sometimes it just seems really weird. Anyways, if you're in India and you have your funds on there, I don't know if you're going to get it back. But this shows you the importance of self-custody, right? Even though a lot of us depend on centralized exchanges, like a lot of you guys are probably storing your crypto on Coinbase or Kraken or wherever, and you think they are bulletproof and they'll never get hacked and you're safe. We see this all the time. Exchanges do get hacked. Vulnerabilities or an insider job or something. So the best move is still to self-custody, right? To safeguard your own crypto. All right. That is pretty much it. Let's do some Q&A. Good morning, all. Let me see if I missed anything. CryptoLogic says there should be no central banks. So no. BTC, Phil says BTC will be a world reserve currency. I agree with that. Someday. Greetings from Puerto Rico. Raul. Let's see. George, did you catch this? ECB did not lower rates. That's just in. Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like ECB and Bank of England and everyone else, they just like follow what Powell does anyways, right? So if Powell is going to cut rate in the Fed fund rate in September, then everyone else is probably going to do it afterwards. So it just seems like everyone just follows what Powell does. Albert's Tau. Hey George, do you think the dollar would go extinct one day, or the dollar and crypto will continue to coexist? I don't think the dollar, I think one day for sure the dollar is not going to be the reserve currency of the world. Will it just go belly up? Probably someday, but it's not going to be anytime soon. I think it's just going to keep on debasing. Eventually there will be another currency that's stronger, possibly like Bitcoin. And, you know, the USD will just get weaker and weaker and weaker, and someday it will go extinct. But that's many, 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 many years out. Blazo says, I'm making huge advancements on automated AI generated content. You know, I hear a lot of people say that, but I haven't seen any that's really, really good. If you actually can make really good automated AI content, I'll pay you a lot of money for that. Luke says Doge Elon Mars is launching Rufus Layer 2 that burns Elon in every transaction, plus a land on Mars metaverse. So bullish. Yeah, I'm not so sure that's bullish, man. A lot of these memes, once they lose momentum, what do? They come out with a layer 2, thinking that that's going to solve things. Has a layer 2 for Sheep done anything for them? I would argue absolutely nothing. They have not done any better than, say, Doge, who has done nothing. So, I don't know. I get a lot of times, you know, these meme coin makers, after they, you know, they make billions with their memes and now they're under pressure to do something. But, like, a lot of times, like, actually building a L2 or building a swap or building whatever does nothing for them. Payless Long Care says, if BlackRock trusts Coinbase, then I feel comfortable leaving my crypto on exchange. I think it's way more risky doing self-custody. I bet you none of the institutions will do self-custody. That's true, but just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't. You know, Coinbase, you got to think that they have the best custody in the world, right? And they also have insurance, but people don't look at the fine print. Their insurance only covers like up to $100 million. So what if you're Sailor, where you're storing tens of billions of dollars on Coinbase and something happens? Everything happens. Every single centralized system is not 100% foolproof, maybe 99%, but something happens. They're not going to be able to pay back Sailor. They're not going to be able to pay back BlackRock and Larry Fink. Okay, no matter, you know, how much insurance they have. So, you know, it's one of those things. You hope it never happens. And maybe it never happens in your lifetime. But if it happens at one time, then they're going to get screwed, right? And keep in mind, not everyone is on Coinbase too. there are a lot of other exchanges that's a lot less, what do you call it, safe, I guess, or trustworthy or reliable. A ship layer 2 isn't burning sheep. That's the problem. No, that's not the problem. The problem is there's not enough volume, and the problem is there's not enough users buying. You can burn all in the world. You can burn the whole supply. If no one else is buying, the price is not going up. That's the thing about burning. A lot of people are tricked into thinking burning is somehow automatically going to make prices go upwards. That's not true. Just because you remove a whole bunch of tokens, if no one else buys that token, the price is still going to be stagnant or go down. You still need people to buy the token. Sam says, you're so right about buying the dips. You deserve a Nobel Peace Prize. I don't know if I bring peace with knowledge of, or bring knowledge of DCA. You know, that I don't know if that counts as peace. Jake asked, do you think Beam will do good this cycle? And when do you think we will see your DCA portfolio update? What do you mean? I just showed it yesterday. Last night was DCA. Every Wednesday night is DCA night. And as for Beam, if games get hot, then yes. But games so far has not been hot at all this cycle. But there are some good games coming out, so maybe that will change. All it takes is one. All it takes is one game to get really hot, and then everything else follows along. DJ asks, what do you think of meme Meister Miggles with Coinbase and Base backing and commenting they're making a video today? I'll 100% guarantee you Coinbase and Base are not backing it. That is so loosely thrown out there. Just because something's launching on Base does not mean they're supporting it. Way too many projects throw that out there. Like, oh yeah, we got Coinbase's support because we're on Base. No, you don't. No, you don't. And there's already a meme called Meme. So there's another one that's called Meme, but it's Mr. Miggles. Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Let's see. Coinbase is up today. Nvidia finally up. It took an absolute beating the last day. MicroStrategy is down a little bit. What's a good chart to show? I don't have a good chart. Yeah, this is a good one to show. Jerry, keep dreaming, my man. Keep dreaming. Benjamin, George, when the ETF is approved, do you think ETH will go down first, like Bitcoin, before taking off? Quite possibly. And I mentioned some concerns today because I saw that Grayscale plans on keeping their ETH ETF. They're going to call it ETH-E. They're going to keep the fee very high at 2.5%. Like what they did with their GBDC. And the reason why they knew there was going to be massive outflows, so they want to collect as much fees as possible. And I'm noticing that they're doing the same thing. And I'm really hoping I'm wrong about this. But if there's massive outflows from Grayscale, that might be putting a lot of sell pressure on ETH itself. I'm hoping I'm wrong about that, but I just saw that the other day, like yesterday or today, and I'm not liking that. Algorand performance cycle, probably very poor, to be honest, Jake. Scotty Mo, have bags of Dot, Mina, Loopring, Matic that I'm looking to swap for better plays, thinking a better horse in a race. Your thoughts? Yes. In a bull market, always hop on the fastest horses. That's how you make the most money. Base came out, said Mr. Miggles is based. Okay, so just because they're just the chain is going to promote anything that's going beyond the chain. That doesn't mean that it's full support of Coinbase, which is very misleading, and I think you know that too. Anything that comes out on Base does not mean that it's supported by Coinbase. Anyone can release anything on Base. Are you still bullish on Sui and C? I'm neutral. See what happens. Cosmos ecosystem has died down dramatically. So Crypto Matt, BTC to 150K this time next year. Possible, yes. Very, very possible. I think it's possible to even hit that early 2025. I think it's too early to say by December, but I think maybe like by March or April of next year, we could already see that. It really depends on how fast we move later this year. I think that's certainly possible. Jacques says, why can't we get Chili's involved in the fight thing that you're part of? I think it's a perfect match. Chili's the project? Sure. If you're associated with them, I used to be a big fan of Chili's. If they want to be part of the IFC, the shirt that you're seeing right now, have them contact me. I'll make it happen. Neutralize Sui after attending base camp too. Yes. Yes. For several reasons. Number one, they have an enormous amount of token unlocks that's happening, and that's not going to stop anytime soon. And number two, the base camp was good. It's mostly filled with games, though. That's another thing, too. We know that games are not very popular right now. So, I kind of told them to embrace memes. And I think there was only one at the time. So, I think I think they're doing fine, but their token unlocks, that's going to be a concern moving forward. And they just need more on top of Sui. That's really it. They need more besides just games. So what I saw was just a whole bunch of games. Should we look into buying politified tokens like MAGA? No. Yes or no. If you want to gamble and you think some of them go up, sure. But I think, there's a million people creating a million memes. I don't think you should go too heavy or do a lot of research into them because you just don't know. Sometimes they could be good, sometimes not. It's just gambling. It's like buying a lottery ticket, scratch ticket. Maybe you buy a meme that takes off. Maybe you buy 1,000 of them and they all tank. I haven't seen any good ones recently. All of them just hit a certain level and then just start tanking and losing all momentum. DJ, if Rand just talked about Miggles on base and he said he bought it, that means he owns an enormous amount of the supply already. I'll tell you that. So it's not an accident. Anything he talks about in his show is not an accident. Like, oh, I just found it. I'm going to buy some because it's great. No, it's because he and his team already hold an enormous amount of it. So that's the reality. Just be prepared for that. Erman, with Bitcoin hitting 150K, still not possible for Dot and Kusama to pull a 10x? It's always possible. I mean, in bull markets, anything's possible. But Polkadot, it has not been very hot at all. However, they're still sitting at number 14. So can they do a 10x to $90 billion? Let's see. Let's see what their previous high was. Previous high is 53, so a little bit more than double that. Is it possible? The answer is yes. Is it likely? I'd say no. 10x from current levels will be pretty hard. But can they break their 2021 high? Yeah, I think so. Did I see a new Coinbase wallet commercial? No, I did not. Where do you even watch commercials now? Like, no one watches traditional TV anymore. Where do you even see a new Coinbase wallet commercial? Crypto Masses, I'm DCAing $15 a day into Bitcoin One Lambo. $15 a day. What does that come out to be? That's $450 a month. Yeah, it's gonna be a while before you see that Lambo, man. I don't know, $450 times by 12, 5,000 a year. You know, let's say that 5,000, it goes up like, let's say Bitcoin in the best case scenario goes up 5x from here, so you'll be at 25,000. So you'll have to wait at least another 4 years for that 25,000 to go up 10x to 200,000, 250,000. Yeah, you probably wait a while, but you know, it's better than not putting money into Bitcoin. Is there any hope for Ape this cycle? Man, I got burned so badly by ApeCoin. Yuga Labs is down in the shitter right now. Like, no one is buying NFTs. Bored Apes, their floor price have tanked. I think it's like 10 ETH now, or maybe even below 10 ETH. Jesus Christ. Yeah, and you can see the unlock schedule today versus what it's going to be. There's at least another 300 million that's going to be released within the next 2 years. And since they have no momentum with NFTs whatsoever, I don't even know if Yuga Labs go survive, to be honest. And, you know, their ApeCoin has been a disaster. You know, I thought they were going to use that as their, you know, currency for their metaverse, which is nowhere close to being released. I have no idea what's going on with their metaverse. My NFTs, I bought other sign NFTs. They're worth nothing now. Just an absolute disaster. Alexandra, what do you think Sol will be at the end of the year? End of this year? I'd say like 300, 350 around there. Maybe higher, 400. I think it's gonna be around there. DJ, you need to just calm it down. I appreciate all the free money, but just like calm down. Stop shilling stuff from Base and Coinbase so much. Okay. What if Lorena? What if you stake Matic? Will you lose it when they convert? It depends on where you stake it. If you stake it in their own wallet, then no. As long as Matic is on their own network, at least according to this, it'll be automatic converted. But if you're on the ETH network or any other network, then you have to bridge it. So that's about it. All right, guys. Let's call it a day. Overall, we got Jerome Powell, Fed Chair Jerome Powell, now bullish on Bitcoin. That is absolutely fantastic. So, smash it a like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys tonight as usual, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Have a good one, guys. Take care.